Glad to have you tuning in again today. We're going to do a little recipe. One of at least the classics from my family. This is a recipe my grandmother would make for sloppy joes. So without further ado, I'm going to get into it. Doesn't require a lot of ingredients, so it's pretty darn easy. We've got 2 pounds of ground chuck here, 1 onion, 1 green bell pepper, a couple stalks of celery that will be equivalent to like 1 cup, mustard powder, chili powder, black pepper. I grind mine fresh. This is an old Turkish coffee mill actually, that I use for coffee grinding. And then kosher salt is what I use. This is what they term a salt pig to hold it. And some ketchup. And I will be adding also brown sugar to this, Worcestershire sauce, and possibly a little bit more water. So we're going to turn on the pan and get started. It's going to provide its own rendering, but just to start the process, I am going to add a little avocado oil. Tends to be my oil of choice, only because it does have a much higher smoke point. And we're going to throw in the beef. Try to break it up a little bit when you throw it in. Why I sort of chose this dish today to make is why I'm making it at home. This would be an excellent dish to make at a campsite. It's pretty easy, doesn't require many ingredients, and the nice thing is it will hold and reheat well. So if you've got it for a few days, you can use it that way. That's the reason I like it. So we're just going to let this meat brown. I like to use a wooden spoon for this, but more of a rough edge one, so I can basically break the meat apart. It's cooking down. Let that go for a bit. When this is all browned, then we will take the beef out of here, but keep 2 tablespoons of the fat, the beef fat. We're going to get rid of the rest. That is what we're going to use to saute the onions, the celery, and the bell pepper, which I'm going to start cutting up now. By the way, if you're interested, the knife I am using here is made by CaveMan knives. You'll see them advertised quite a bit online, on Instagram and other platforms. I've had this knife now for about a 1.5 years, and it's worked really well. I'm really happy with it. I do like a bigger knife, and I'm using like a French knife. I sort of got used to a Chinese cleaver back in my chef days in a restaurant, and there was a reason for that. You may find it interesting, you may find it a little, how shall I say, distressful, because I used to use regular chef's knife, sort of like this, but a 10-inch on a regular basis. Great knives. This is a shun, but Unfortunately, other people would grab my knife and start using it and not sharpen it. One day I came back after lunch, came back to chop up some onions just like you saw me do now, and the minute my knife hit the top, it rolled off and went right onto my fingers, on my knuckles. Fortunately not my finger ends, because like you see I hold my fingers in, check them, but it still cut my hand up pretty good. That is when I decided that at the restaurant I would start using a Chinese cleaver, which I did for many years. The reason being, people were scared of it. And that worked to my favor, so I did not mind. Okay, so we just chopped everything up. The beef is almost done being browned. So see the beef is browning up nicely. I'm just breaking up the bigger pieces to make sure those also get addressed. Now, I am using a ground chuck. The reason I use a ground chuck is 80-20 beef to fat mix. And you may say that sounds like a lot of fat. Well, we're rendering off a bunch. Plus also that's your mouthfeel in the sandwich. You can definitely use a leaner beef if you wish. I totally understand if that's what you want to do. Just understand the mouthfeel may be different. That's why I use the blend I do. Okay. Now in the 2 tablespoons of beef fat in. And now we are going to add our vegetables. And the goal here now is to cook this down until the onions start to soften. When onions soften, if you're not aware, they're going to start to turn translucent. And I'm sorry, one ingredient I forgot to mention we'll be adding today too. This is our acidic, is white vinegar. Everything's starting to cook down nicely. I am going to adjust the heat down a little bit, just so we're about medium. Onions are starting to soften up, but still got a little ways to go. For those of you who are not aware, my backstory prior to technology field I'm in now is I was a chef for many years. I grew up in the restaurant business and worked my way up through the ranks and became a chef and culinary. So thusly my love of cooking as well. Doesn't always have to be something fancy. I think cooking should be reflective of what you want to relay in love to the people around you or what you're trying to share with your folks around you. I mean, a game, you're not going to make something really enormously complicated or maybe on the field. You just want something heartwarming that fills the body and the spirit. I did this for 27 years. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of work. If anybody's looking to go into the restaurant business, I'm not going to discourage you. But if you have any inklings or any thoughts before you dive in, please let me know. I'm glad to answer to the best of my ability. Okay, so our onions now are to that point they're starting to get translucent. So what we're going to do is I drained off the remainder of the fat off the beef. I want to add the beef back. Stir this in. And then we are going to add a cup and a half of ketchup. That's why I bought another thing of ketchup, because I'm probably going to use this one up. And don't be distressed if you got to use a little water to thin that up. I'm going to do with this one. Also help to get the rest of the product out of the jar. So I turn the heat down now to medium-low. Okay, I'm going to rinse out the ketchup jar. So you get all that goodness out. Don't worry, it won't thin it down that much because we're going to let this simmer for 30 minutes. In fact, we might have to add some water. So, now we are going to add 2 teaspoons of dry mustard, 1.5 teaspoons of chili powder. Your chili powder desire can vary, and also according to the chili powder. So make sure you do your due diligence to taste it afterwards. Now we need some Worcestershire sauce. Always a handy thing. 2 tablespoons of that. Stir this again. Right now I'm going to add about 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper. I have this fine grind. A teaspoon of salt. Nice thing with kosher salt, or like a sea salt, you don't worry necessarily about over salting something. It's easier to control. Also, if you do have an iodine issue, help with that. Lastly, we're going to add 2 teaspoons of brown sugar. 2 tablespoons, pardon me. So, we talked about spices and everything else. Keep in mind, you're going to need to adjust. This isn't exact. It's going to vary on your ingredients a little bit. The potency of your powders, the brown sugar, all that. So taste it to your liking. After about 20 minutes, I would give it a taste and see if you want to adjust it. As I like to say, a movie line I picked up from Pirates of the Caribbean was Barbossa. In relation to the pirates rules, it's more like guidelines. So at this point, I am turning this down to a low simmer. We're going to cover and let go for the 20 minutes I mentioned. When we come back, we're going to do a tasting of it, off the lid, see if we need to adjust, and use the old trusty tablespoon and give a taste. So we'll see how close I am, or if my mouth puckers or it's too sour. We'll see. Nice thing, it looks like we don't have to add any more liquid. Darn, it's right on. It's one of the nice things about this recipe. I'm not calling it out as foolproof. But I got this from my grandmother and been using it for, what, 40 years? And it's never let me down, and I usually come in pretty close. And you saw me do what I was doing. The only thing I will say I forgot to add, and then third cup of vinegar is what I added in that initial batch when I added spices and everything. Sorry I missed that. But yeah, we're good. Now, this is to my taste point, which I like it a little bit bitey. If you don't, you might like a little bit more brown sugar to it. That would adjust it up a little bit. That would be my only thing. So next I'm going to let this cook an additional 10 minutes. I have some hard rolls for it. I am going to toast one up. And I do have some butter pickles I think I'm going to have on it too, that I picked up from a local farmer's market. So I think that's going to be on top of it. Nothing drastic. I do have some baked beans. I might heat those up too, that I had from dinner the other night. So that might be to go along to it. So there you have it. And next you see me, I'll be... Well, to finish this off, you know, they always say the proof is in the pudding, right? So I have my sandwich here. I do not believe in overpacking a sandwich. This is my thing in the restaurant business and that too. You should be able to pick up a sandwich and eat it without everything falling out of it. I know it's sort of a thing now. I just don't go with that. So Sloppy Joe mix is on there. I do have some sweet pickles on here, butter pickles. I actually picked these up at my local farmer's market. They're by Farm and Vine Bread and Butter Pickles. So not associated with them at all, just so I call it out. If you're in the area or see them, you might want to pick some up. They're very good. It's the first chance I've had to try them, and I grabbed out and I ate half a dozen before I even put them on the sandwich. I toasted my hard roll a little bit, just get a little crunchy, depress the bread a little bit so that it pockets it nice. And now we are going to enjoy a nice Sloppy Joe. That is good. It's also a bit nostalgic. Every time I eat that, I think of family members growing up in past life. So it is rewarding in many forms. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, let me know if you made a Sloppy Joe's and what you thought about it. I hope you give this video a thumbs up. I will continue making videos like this if you wish. I know a lot of people want the off-road videos, but I like to try to intermix stuff with other things, including cooking, being my background. So until next time, we'll see you on the road or maybe eating. Take care. Bye-bye.